In this video, I'm going to share my ideas on how to make Windows 8 better than Windows 7. Firstly, Windows 8 should not be a feature-oriented release like Vista. The reliability of Windows 7 does not compare to Mac OS X. Windows 8 needs to address that. As well, it could also improve in the area of speed. Okay, so with regard to reliability, Microsoft needs to focus on the App Store and on an unfaultable reset to manufacturer option. With regard to speed, Microsoft should focus on task speed, and we'll get into all these other features in the slides to come. The most important feature in Windows 8 is the App Store. So why do we need it, and what does it look like? Well, we need it to eliminate the software compatibility and installation issues. We also need it to reduce malware infections. So what does the App Store look like? Well, it consists of both Microsoft and trusted third-party applications. You open it and navigate to the software you want and click it to install. For software that is not in the repository, there is a search function. The search function determines the author and checks it against a list of approved authors. If the author is approved, the user is automatically taken to the author's site and prompted to buy and/or download the software. At this time, the user is unable to navigate to other websites. When the download is complete, installation automatically begins. If the author is unverified or unapproved, the user is provided an option to install the software in an isolated environment. This isolated environment is transparent to the user. The user is unaffected, uninvolved. If the user does not want to install the software in this isolated environment, they cannot install the software. Long are gone the days of installing software by the executable itself. This is not possible in Windows 8 for security purposes. The App Store would eliminate low file security. That is, users could download their software forever, regardless of if the license expires or a new version of the software comes out. The App Store would also have a user cabinet section, which would consist of all of the user's software, which can be downloaded individually or collectively in one click. Finally, users could save and load their Windows 8 settings from the App Store. The success of the App Store hinges upon the quantity of approved authors and of Windows 8 certified applications. Windows 8 needs to have an unfaultable reset to manufacturer option. Current options are prone to failure, i.e. system restore, and current options do not save user files. Users should only use products with the Windows 8 certified logo. This includes both software and hardware. Why? Because in Windows 8 it just works, and if it's certified, then it just works. So Microsoft would market this sort of scheme that users should only use Windows 8 approved products. In a perfect world, of course, there would only be Windows 8 certified products. But since this is not a perfect world, the only thing Microsoft can do is to dramatically increase the certification of both hardware and software. Faster boot and shutdown speed. How do you do it? You look at Chrome OS. What they did is they discovered that there's actually 12 stages in the boot process, and they reduced it from 12 to 5. Now you can't expect this from Microsoft. This would be a miracle, but Microsoft should do their best to reduce the number of stages during the boot process. And make no mistake, Windows 7 is fat. It's not as fat as Vista, but is still fat. To address the boot and shutdown speed, Microsoft should make Windows 8 as slim as possible. There's a lot of features in Windows 7 that users will not use. If they're not going to use them, they don't belong on the hard drive. End of story. With regard to sleep and hibernate speed, just keep in mind it's not a complete solution, and you do need to actually focus on real boot and shutdown speed. For example, Windows tends to slow down the longer it runs. So there should be a cleaning protocol or protocols in place while the system is running to maintain the speed and to make sleep and hibernate more viable. Windows 8 should also require less restarts after software installation. This is frankly quite annoying, and it's completely against task speed. Task speed. First thing Microsoft has to do is to get rid of the start button and replace it with the dashboard. Why? With the dashboard, you start applications directly, and with the start button, you start applications indirectly or illogically. And if you start applications with the start button, it takes longer than if you start applications with the dashboard. Task speed is all about minimizing the number of clicks it takes to complete a certain task. For example, to go to a website, start Internet Explorer, one click. Click in the address bar, type your URL, and press enter. So that's 2 clicks and the enter key to complete the task of viewing a web page. So Microsoft in Windows 8 needs to really focus on how long it takes to complete a variety of tasks, and it should be as fast as possible. Luckily, Microsoft doesn't have to reinvent the wheel because Chrome OS has been looking at this very thing to implement in their own operating system. So Microsoft just needs to look at some of their ideas and implement it in Windows 8. Continuing with task speed, it can be one of the main reasons to upgrade from Windows XP, which has slow task speed. The user interface should always fit the person's needs, their age, demographic, likes, disabilities, language, profession, and goals. In fact, there should be software that optimizes task speed. For example, suppose I always went to X folder to start a program. The task optimizer would detect this behavior and put a link on the dashboard. Why navigate to start the program? Ridiculous, illogical. If I continuously use 3 programs, then maybe it should put those 3 programs first in the dashboard. Microsoft's own programs like Internet Explorer could further be optimized. For example, when I click Internet Explorer in the dashboard, it immediately takes me to the URL field. Why should I have to click that field every time? Ridiculous, illogical. Completing tasks should be easy, intuitive, and fast. Microsoft can look at the difference between Office 2003 and Office 2007. There's a major usability difference, and implement some of those key ideas into Windows 8. Finally, if I am blind or deaf, Windows 8 should be what I've been waiting for. The biggest problem with Microsoft, of course, is that they don't have a visionary. They don't have a Steve Jobs. And so for Windows 8 to be a hit, Microsoft needs a great app store. They need very fast task speed, widespread certification, and an unfaultable reset to manufacturer option. If I worked at Microsoft, I'd kick his ass.